Hi there, welcome to Boxbread. This is my final video ahead of this weekend's fights, and in this video the first fight I'm going to be talking about is the big one. We've got Miguel Cotto going up against Antonio Margarito for the WBA Super World Light Middleweight title, and my prediction for this fight is a victory for Miguel Cotto by decision. I've changed my mind on numerous occasions. I was actually pretty satisfied that Antonio Margarito was going to win the fight, but after more deliberation and seeing the 24/7 episodes and having a bit more thought, I come to the conclusion that Miguel Cotto is going to get revenge and get the decision victory in this one. There's obviously the big Puerto Rican-Mexican rivalry, plus the added rivalry and tension because of their history and the controversy surrounding their first fight. And the fight is in Madison Square Garden, where there's going to be a very heavy fan base of Puerto Ricans for Miguel Cotto by the look of it. So I think the support is going to be there for Cotto, and I think he's going to, have to make the most of that to give him the energy and the heart to go through. First of all, I think that Antonio Margarito in the face-off, one of the things that struck me was the fact that he said he was prepared to die in the ring, and Cotto clearly said he wasn't. So if it comes down to a battle of the heart, I think Margarito has the upper hand there. And obviously, because Miguel Cotto has been beaten badly by Antonio Margarito in the past, there is concern there for me, as with the first time he gets hit by Margarito, is he thinking, oh no, that feels just like before, maybe he didn't have his hand trapped, maybe he's just that powerful, how will he react when he first gets hit by a power punch from Margarito? Technically, I think Cotto's a better fighter. I think that we're going to see more of what happened at the beginning of the last fight. Cotto, yeah, this is his weapon, his left hand. This is his defense, his offense, his defense. And never more in his career has this been more true. If you watch him against Mayorga tries to land some heavy left hands. Cotto has a very good defense with his hand. He keeps it there. He jabs, he throws punches, he's got a very good defense, he doesn't lose that very often, and that's going to be key in this fight. So the main way Antonio Margarito for me is going to have to attack the left side of Cotto's face and his body, obviously. That's going to be Antonio Margarito's main target for me, and the opposite goes for Cotto, because we know that Margarito broke that orbital bone in his fight with Pacquiao, and there have been he's had major surgery on it, some real heavy surgery on that, and there was obviously trouble getting this fight to happen. The commission only passed it very late on. They did a real investigation into whether he was fit to fight because of that eye problem. I think, did he have like an artificial lens inserted into his eye or something? Basically it's not something I'm going to downplay here. I think that eye can be a major target for Cotto, and I think he's going to target it. Think about it. Cotto, his left hand is one of the best weapons in the sport. He can jab you with it, very good jab. He can give very good quick hooks with it. Yeah? It's directly in line with the right side of Margarito's face. That's the easiest target for Cotto in this fight. I know Margarito's had sparring partners where Robert Garcia, his trainer, has told him to throw a lot of left hooks, but I tell you now, they're not going to be throwing left hooks with the accuracy and power as good as Cotto, who has one of the best left arms in the game. And as of late, I think he's even improving on it. Against Mayorga, he's just very technically sound, Cotto. He is a very good boxer, and I think we shouldn't lose sight of that going into this fight, regardless of the history of the two fighters. I think Cotto has very good technical advantages over Antonio Margarito. I like Cotto's movement. I just like his ability to counterpunch. I just like that left hand in this fight, and I think he's going to target the right side of Antonio Margarito's face. He's going to target that eye. He's going to really try and hurt Margarito. Margarito, on the other hand, needs to really pressure Cotto like he did in the first fight, and like he does with other fighters. I think we all know that Cotto is most vulnerable when he's backed up and against the ropes, and he's taken out of his comfort zone. And I think Margarito has the tools and skills to do this. That was the main reason I thought he might win the fight, because if he applies effective pressure and he starts going to the body and he starts being very aggressive, then he can catch up to Cotto like he did in the first fight. I just think Cotto's going to really want this. I think he's just going to be too technically advanced here. I think he's going to be able to counterpunch Margarito all night. And I think it's going to be a close fight, and I think it's going to be difficult for both fighters. It's not going to be an easy victory for Cotto, but I'm going to go with Cotto by decision, because I think he's just going to be able to outwork. The quality of shots will be better from Cotto, in my opinion. Like, he needs to make sure that stamina's up. He needs to make sure he doesn't wilt under the pressure. He needs to make sure he keeps going for the full 12 rounds for the full fight. We could see a repeat of the first fight where he starts off very well, but then gets caught up with a Margarito just blasts him out there. I think he's going to be able to weather the storm this time. I think he's going to use his boxing brain. He's going to, try and take advantage of that, like I said, Margarito's eye problem. Although he said his fight is fine now, I don't think it's going to be fine when the left hook's going to be hitting it all night. The uppercuts from Cotto are going to be key. He throws a very good uppercut. He's going to need to do that. He's going to need to use that movement, like I said. And all in all, yeah, a very close fight, a very difficult one to call, but I'm going for Cotto in this one. I think another thing, Cotto has changed his trainer a lot, like 3 times in the last 4 fights. He's lost his father, which is a big blow for him in his camp. And how does he react to that as well? That's going to be a difficulty for Cotto, but will it spur him on, or will it be a hindrance to him? I like the look of his new trainer, Diaz. I think the guy's very educated, seems intelligent. He said boxing is his family. He's left Cuba, leaving his real family behind, and he's quite seems crazy that he'd say something like that. Boxing is his family over his actual family, but this shows how dedicated the guy is, and he seems like he really works hard to bring Cotto in the best shape possible. So I think Cotto has faith in him, and I think obviously Garcia is in charge of Margarito, another really good trainer. But I think Cotto takes this one. Next fight I'm looking at is Brandon Rios going up against John Murray. Now, this fight has had some late sort of drama leading into it. John Murray is known for sort of fighting in front of you. He's there in front of you to hit, but you are there in front of him to hit. The same can be said for Brandon Rios. Rios has shown me that he is world level at that, and he can come out against world level fighters like that. I think John Murray, he was beaten by Kevin Mitchell, who did a boxing job on him, technical job on him. But I think if John Murray comes in front of Brandon Rios, he's going to come out second best, and I've thought that since the fight was introduced and announced. I think that Brandon Rios is going to win this fight by stoppage, and I still think he's going to win it by stoppage, and I think it's going to be around round 7 or 8. That's to take nothing away from John Murray, but I just think anyone who goes in there against Brandon Rios and tries to slug it out with him is going to come out second best. I think Brandon Rios is just too powerful at the weight. I just think he's just going to be too big going into the ring. Now, the late drama was that Brandon Rios didn't make the weight, so the belt has actually been stripped from him, meaning that John Murray will be able to fight for the title, but Brandon Rios won't be able to. Quite shocking for Brandon Rios and his camp. He was apparently, for something like 5 days, not eating or really drinking. You can get more details about this from a video that UK Wing Chun student did, a very good video detailing this. And that, at the weigh-in, Rios looked very drained. He looked like a skeleton. It's the lowest, the thinnest I've ever seen him. I didn't really recognise him almost. But he's undoubtedly going to be putting the weight back on before this fight. What will be a question here is, how does the weight affect his performance? Because we know that when you lose weight rapidly, like he probably did do to try and get it down to 135, which he failed to do, it reduces the protective fluid around your brain, which therefore tends to affect punch resistance. I'm not sure how, if he gains the weight back quickly, that's going to affect his punch resistance or the fluids. How it's going to affect his stamina, his overall conditioning, his physical attributes. How is it going to affect him in the ring? These are questions that can only be answered on the night, and that only Brandon Rios would know. So a bit of a little bit of a blip there in Brandon Rios' preparations, but I still think that Rios is going to be there, and he's going to stop John Murray. For John Murray, the difficulty I see is because Number one, he's always fought in front of you. He's always fought sort of a pressure come forward type fighter, and he's always been willing to slug it out with his opponents. If he does that against Brandon Rios, I can see him coming off second best. I think he's going to get stopped eventually. I think Brandon Rios will be too much for him. If he decides to try and box and dance around the ring, he's never really done that. So to do that in one of the first fights he's going to be doing that is, even all I can say is he's probably not going to be good enough to keep away from Rios for the whole fight. And thirdly, he's going to be dragged in if he does that, because John Murray is always going to come back to the fact that he can be pulled into a war. He'll want to fight back. As men, we want to fight back. He won't. I don't think he'll be able to keep that discipline. You'll be pulled in. So not to be on too much of a downer here for John Murray, but I think it's very difficult for him to win this fight. I think he'll take some comfort in the fact that Rios has had weight issues. I think that Murray needs to go in there and try and impose. Basically, he just needs to go for it and just show that we're wrong, show that I'm wrong, show that he can match Rios in a fight, in a toe-to-toe battle. Just show that I'm misjudging him. Show that he can come in and he can win this, and he can give as good as he gets, and he can actually try and hurt Rios. I think the power advantage is with Rios. I think Rios takes this by stoppage, round 7 or 8. So thank you for watching. I've tried to do the best I can with the limited time I have available. I do apologise, I've been very busy lately. But thank you guys for watching my videos, and please let me know what you think, because I'm very interested, particularly UK John Murray fans. Please let me know what chances you give him in this fight against Rios. We saw that Martin Murray held his own against Felix Sturm, surprised me, got the draw. Can Murray do the same? Looking forward to these fights tonight. This is Boxbred, and I'm out.